Welcome to COS Indiana Live. There's never been a more important time in our history than now if you believe it's time to stand up and be free. Stay tuned and come back every Monday at 7 p.m. as our state director and host, Dale Parrish, present the need for self-governance. Our COS Indiana vision statement is to build a grassroots community of Hoosier citizens and legislators dedicated to the constitutional concept of self-governance. So, take it away, Dale.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Maringo Mike, for that introduction. Well, it's been a couple weeks since we've broadcast, so it's good to be back, and I'm happy to welcome all of you to our broadcast this evening. As Maringo Mike said, my name's Dale Parrish. I am the State Director for Convention of States here in Indiana, and we have a great broadcast for you lined up again tonight. We had to make a little change in plans. We had originally intended on having a panel discussion this evening, but due to some other factors, we're going to have to postpone that until a little later. So tonight, we are going to be treated by one of our newest district captains. Vicky Fisher is going to be with us tonight. But before we bring on Vicky this evening, let me talk about the different segments that we're going to go through in our broadcast tonight. Now, before I get into the segments, I want to remind you again that we are live streaming the broadcast on our YouTube channel, COS Indiana. So if any of you know of people that would like to view our broadcast, but don't utilize Facebook, which is where our broadcast normally comes to and still does, but if they don't use Facebook, another alternative is through our YouTube channel, COS Indiana. So live streaming through YouTube now, our broadcast COS Indiana Live. The first segment of our broadcast will always be the discussion topic, the topic of discussion. Now, sometimes we do have a panel discussion, which was the intention tonight, but plans had to be changed. What I like to do most of the time is I like to bring on leadership personnel like we are tonight and introduce you to leaders in Convention of States here in Indiana, as well as leaders from our national group. And I'm going to be mentioning that later on to you because that's what we have planned for the September 21st broadcast, but more on that later. So the first segment will be our discussion topic segment. The second segment will be an information segment. This is where I bring up a PowerPoint and go through some general information about resources that we have available to us here in Indiana. We'll go over a few numbers to let you know how we're doing. Then in the third segment will be our viewer recognition segment. Those individuals that are tuning in tonight, watching our broadcast, asking questions. By the way, if you want to make a comment or ask a question, you can do that in the chat section, and I'll do my best to bring those up and take a look at those in the viewer recognition segment. The final segment will be what I call the invitation, and this is where we wrap things up for the broadcast, and I tell you what's going to happen on our next broadcast. And then I'm going to invite you to join us here in Convention of States in Indiana. That's why we call it the invitation. See, where the target audience for this broadcast is, in fact, for those Hoosiers here in Indiana that are not part of our movement. Now, obviously, we welcome any viewers from wherever you may be located, but our target audience are the Hoosiers here in Indiana that are not in our movement as yet. You're the ones that we want you to join us here in Convention of States of Indiana. So that will be in the invitation segment, and that will be the wrap up for the evening. So without further ado, I'm now going to turn Vicky's audio on. and bring her up into the broadcast. Hopefully, here, there she is, and we'll get her situated. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like for you to meet one of our newest district captains, Miss Vicky Fisher. Vicky, how are you?
Hi, Dale. I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Good, good. Vicky is, like I said, brand new district captain here in Indiana, and Vicky is the new district captain for House District 100. Now we are organized in Indiana. Well, where every state is organized in this manner. We're organized around House districts. So there are 100 of those House districts here in Indiana. So hopefully someday we'll have, in fact, 100 district captains. But Vicky's district is, in fact, number 100, and she is the new district captain. So, Vicky, tell us a little bit about your district, where it's located in the state, a little bit about your district.
Yeah, I'm in Indianapolis. I'm in Irvington. My district includes Irvington, Warren Park out to the east, and then Fountain Square to the west. So it's a pretty big district, and yeah, I need some district captains. So I'm hoping there's people watching who get off of here and decide that they want to be the self-governing patriot.
All right, all right, good deal. Well, Vicky, I always ask any guest, any Convention of States guest that comes on, be it here from Indiana or national, I always ask them to tell us their Convention of States story, the how, when, and why you got involved in Convention of States. So let us hear your story.
Well, I was a registered Democrat. Shame on me. And and I had never voted. I voted once. I voted for Obama. Shame on me again.
Uh,
And I was watching as President Trump. I voted for President Trump, and I watched him just get hammered from even before he got elected. And I thought, that's not right. He's either doing something really, really right, and they're trying to keep people from understanding him or what he's doing, or they're just mean. And either way, I didn't like it. So I didn't want to be any part of a party like that. So I started listening to Mark Levin. That seems to be a common theme with us patriots, that we love Mark Levin. He's a brilliant man, and I hope to meet him someday. But after listening to his program, I just got involved with Hillsdale College, learned the Constitution. I was just astounded at how ignorant I was of everything. And I just can't learn enough now. And I want to be teaching other people. And I think it's a big part of Convention of States that we, pass on some knowledge we've all learned with this epidemic, that it's brought all these things out of the closet, that, we're losing our country and we need to do something. And so that's why I got involved.
Some of the things that you mentioned, many of us in Convention of States can relate to some of the things that you mentioned. Like Mark Levin has been
incredible,
a super proponent of Convention of States and
yeah.
Support person all along. And as a matter of fact, it was one of his books, Liberty Amendments, that intrigued me and got me motivated into getting into Convention of States. And you mentioned Hillsdale College courses. I've taken a number of those too.
They're really good.
They
They're really
are.
Educational.
And they're free and they're online. You can work at them at your own pace. I think I probably have completed something like 10 or 12 of those courses.
Oh, wow. I would love to be there. Well, and I didn't even know about Article 5 until I started, with Hillsdale College, and then with you guys really sent it home that Article 5 is the way to go.
Yes.
There really is no other way.
Yes. So many of the things that you mentioned, I can certainly relate to. Now, other than Convention of States, I know you work for a living, so
I
tell us a
do.
little bit about your job.
I wish I were independently wealthy like all those little brats out there rioting.
Don't we
But
all?
no, I'm a coding consultant for the medical field. I've been in the medical field for 35 years. I absolutely love it. It's like Convention of States and the Constitution. There's always something to learn. You cannot get bored. And sometimes it's really, really hard. But yeah, it's a good job for me. I'm certified, so I'm a certified CPC.
Now there's been a lot of training involved in that, right?
It's constant training.
Constant training. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, and you probably get paid big bucks for it, huh?
Well, I'd like to get paid more and do less.
Wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all?
Yeah, so I could do more for Convention of States.
Now, in talking to you in preparing for this interview, you mentioned to me that some of the hobbies that you have, some of the interests that you have. Tell us about your interest in animals. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, when I went to college. I've been an animal freak since I was 3, according to my mother, and yeah, I was always bringing things home: snakes, frogs, cats, dogs, whatever I could find that I thought needed me, and I'd bring them home, and we got kind of a menagerie. But I have a love for biology. That's my big thing. I love biology. So I went to school. I took pre-med, and I was going to be a veterinarian, but I
Yeah.
ran out of time and ran out of money. Did you know, even way back when, out of 3,000 people, they only let 80 in.
Oh, really?
So I hope those numbers have gone up, but it's a very, well, elitist kind of a thing. So maybe
Wow.
that's why God decided he didn't want me to be an elite.
Well, I tell you, people in this country sure love their animals.
Oh, it's incredible. I
Yeah.
was just talking to a girl today. They have doggy ophthalmologists, kitty, they can do kitty EKGs with little oxygen masks, and you wouldn't believe what they can do for animals. It's really great.
Wow. Wow. Well, Vicky, as we've mentioned here, that you're a new district captain. So tell us about some of the goals that you have set for yourself for your district.
Well, my first goal was to do my own long-term commitment. When I first started, I got kind of antsy. I thought, oh, I'm not doing enough. And I had all this energy and all this pent up anger. And I thought, well, I got to do something. But really, what this is a long term commitment so that, you can be a self governing individual and be part of an awesome team. There are just over 1 million people that are raring to go here. We have something like, what, 4.5 million followers on Facebook or something.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think we
That's
just
incredible.
had 4.6 million supporters across the country. Yeah,
That is awesome.
it
Okay,
is.
that is just unbelievable. So you got to make a long-term commitment. And then my goals for next year when we can open up is Irvington is such a community-oriented place. I want to get involved and do things with my community and get people signed up, and so they can be on their way, and then maybe do constitutional classes, and just do the whole 9 yards and keep it rolling, and I need a lot of volunteers to help me,
Great,
and
great.
more district captains.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Yeah,
Well,
Indianapolis is a really big city.
no kidding. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're working on a big event coming up in October. Tell us about the gun show.
We are, and people need to understand Convention of States. Is the people that I work with are so awesome. There are so many wonderful people that all work together as a team. This is definitely a team situation. So this gun show is probably going to be massive. It's out at the fairgrounds, at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. And it's in October on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. I think we're going to have 2 tables out there, and everybody's going to pitch in, and I hope it's a lot of fun. I'm a talker, so I'm hoping to talk to lots and lots and lots of people. Maybe I'll, for once in my life, get all talked out.
Well, Vicky
We'll see.
mentioned having tables there. These are things that gun shows, county fairs, other types of similar events. Uh, local convention of states individuals, district captains like Vicky, will set up information tables at these events and hand out materials, as well as encourage people to join us and sign our petition right there at the
Right.
table. So these are great events for us. And shows like this, gun shows, we seem to uh, relate very well to attendees at shows of this nature, gun shows. Very like-minded people. I'll just put it that way.
I was going to say, I encourage everyone to come because that way, too, you can get to meet the people that you might be working with if you decide you want to be a district captain or a volunteer.
There you go.
Because some
Excellent,
of us will be there. Yeah.
excellent point. Excellent point. Well, let's wrap it up here. I know I wanted to mention you're involved in some other training right now, right?
I am Rick Green and Mark Meckler. Rick Green is a great constitutional teacher. He's got a wonderful program through Patriot Academy that I think is fantastic. And Mark Meckler, they joined together so that we could have this opportunity to do this free. It's a 6-class. The third one is tonight.
Tonight.
And you can be a constitutional coach and get a certificate. And it's just, I have learned so much. I can't tell you. It's just phenomenal. I'm loving it. It's really cool.
All right, Vicky. Well, Vicky, I think you're going to be a top-notch district captain for us.
Thank you, Dale. I'm so glad to be with you all.
And you certainly have the right attitude, and I'm quite certain that you're going to be very, very successful. So,
Thank
Vicky,
you.
thank you very much for joining us tonight. Enjoyed talking with you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'll send you back now. There you go. All right, Vicky Fisher, District Captain, District 100. So enjoyed talking with Vicky. Very, very good. Now let's get into our next segment, which is the information segment. And I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint here. So bear with me until I can get I want you to be able to see the slides in the view or the full view on your screen. So you should be able to see those right now. So let's get started real quick there. As Maringo Mike said, our vision statement here in Indiana is to build a Hoosier grassroots community of citizens and legislators, now that's state legislators, dedicated to the constitutional concept of self-governance. Now we have two main mission objectives here. Number one is to meet with all of our assigned and targeted legislators. Now these are state legislators. The targeted legislators are generally new legislators where we don't know where they stand on convention of states. We don't know if they support us or oppose us, so we need to meet with them and find out where they stand. So that's one of our objectives. Number two objective is to grow the grassroots to 52,000 supporters. Now, I'm going to give you some numbers on these in just a moment here, but I just wanted to let you know we are well on track to achieving this objective of 52,000. Resources available to us here in Indiana. Our main website, which is a national website, conventionofstates.com. You're going to hear us make reference to this website many times, but that is the main website. Now, embedded in that website is our state website page, conventionofstates.com/Indiana. Obviously, a more focused look on the state of Indiana. Social media platforms, main platform, is Convention of States Indiana. Now that is our state Facebook page. The broadcast is coming to you through that Facebook page, as well as being streamed on our YouTube channel. Now another resource is in fact our YouTube channel, COS Indiana, and that is where this is being live streamed. But it's also an educational resource. We have narrated PowerPoints, we have recordings of these broadcasts that we're doing right now. We have links to a podcast that our legislative liaison, Paul Phillips, does called the Free to Be Free podcast. So whenever he generates a podcast, we put a link on there so that you can easily access his podcast. They're very good, but I might mention. Other social media platforms, Twitter, hashtag COS Indiana, Instagram, LinkedIn, and a few others. So if you're into social media, you should not have any trouble finding Convention of States Indiana. Some quick numbers. At the end of 2019, we had surpassed 41,000 supporters here in the state of Indiana. We've been growing at a tremendous rate here in Indiana. So we set as our goal for 2020, we set our goal to be 52,000 supporters. And I will tell you right now, we are well on track to achieving that goal. Every month we do a state video conference of all the leaders here in Indiana, and we go over these numbers with everyone. So every month I report how we're doing in achieving this goal. And like I said, we are well on track to meeting this goal. Now, in leadership positions in Indiana, we have about 80 individuals involved in leadership positions at one level or another. So we're always looking for more people to take on leadership roles. So if you're interested, let me tell you how to get involved. You go to the national website, conventionofstates.com, click on the menu selection, Take Action. Scroll down to where it says Become a Leader and look at the different volunteer opportunities that we have for you. If one's of interest to you, open it up, read about it. If you're very interested, go ahead and make application. You're not obligated in any way. Don't worry about that. But make application, and what that does then is your name then will come up on a report that I see every day, as well as a few others. And one of us then will be in contact with you to discuss that position further with you. I want to caution you, when you look at these positions, be sure to pay attention to the estimated time involved in the position. Some of these require very little time, others require quite a bit more time. And you're the only one that knows how much time you can devote to being involved in Convention of States. We all have different priorities and different life situations. So be aware of that and look at the estimated time involved. All right, finally, I want to just touch on what we call the basics of Convention of States. These are the three tenets of our movement: the problem, the solution, and the plan. And once again, I would recommend that you go to our national website, conventionofstates.com, click on the menu selection, resources, and there you can find a wealth of information that discusses each of these basics. But basically, the basics are broken down into three: the problem, the solution, and the plan. The problem we've identified and further defined into three abuses that we refer to: abuses by the federal government. The solution to addressing these abuses is to hold a Convention of States, according to Article 5 of the Constitution, hold a Convention of States for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution that would address these abuses that we've defined in the problem area. And then the final basic is our plan and how we plan on bringing this about and what it's going to take to make this happen. So we won't go into any further detail on these this evening, but these are the basics of our program. So I encourage you to go to our national website and educate yourself on the basics of Convention of States. All right, let me get out of this part of our presentation, and let's look over here and see if we have any viewers this evening. here we have one of our viewers, Susan Lyon, from up in the South Bend area, and she's saying, hi everyone, hope you're having a great evening. So thank you, Susan, for joining us this evening. Her husband, Susan, is part of a husband and wife team we have here in Indiana. Her husband, Rick, couldn't be with us tonight. He is we've had him on previously on a previous broadcast, I might mention, Rick Lyon. And Rick is a perfect example of a Convention of States individual that exercises his constitutional right of self-governance. Rick is a volunteer policeman in South Bend, and he's attending a meeting tonight. Susan says that he's meeting with the volunteer group. So I brought him on the broadcast a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was, to talk to us more about his job as a volunteer policeman in South Bend, Indiana. It blows me away to think about that every time I hear it mentioned. But yep, Rick is that's what he does, and more power to him. I think that's great. Well, let's get into then our final segment for the evening, which is the invitation segment. And now, before I get into that part of it, I want to let you know that on our next broadcast, which is going to be a week from tonight at 7 o'clock, September 21st, we have one of our national leaders coming in to meet with us. And this is Mike Ruthenberg. And Mike is the Convention of States Executive Vice President. And like I said, from time to time, I like to bring in people from our national group. They always, of course, have a little different viewpoint since they see things from a national level. We're obviously focused on Indiana here, but so I always enjoy bringing national people in to talk to us. Like I said, we get a different viewpoint, and Mike is very good individual, and I think you will enjoy meeting with him and hearing what he has to say. But let's wrap things up here, and I always like to wrap up the broadcast on a quote from our president, Mark Meckler. Mark says, there's a fundamental question facing us in this country. And that question is not what should we do? The question is who will decide? And this is where we, the people, come into play here. Folks, if you look at what's going on in our country today, all the different things going on and the craziness going on, I think if you think about it, it becomes more and more important. This is where self-governance comes into play. It becomes more important that we, the people, should be making more and more of these decisions, not only at the federal level, but at the state level, county level, city level, community level. I think if we, the people, were more involved in making decisions in our day-to-day lives, that I think many of these problems that we're facing today could be avoided. So, like Mark says, there's a fundamental question facing us, and it's not what should we do. The question is who decides. And we believe in Convention of States, it's we, the people, that should be making these decisions. So with that, folks, we'll wrap it up for this evening. And I want to thank you once again for tuning in to Convention of States Indiana Live, and look forward to seeing you next Monday evening, September 21st, 7 p.m. Good night, everyone. Have a good evening.